Hello everyone, welcome to Masterpiece Builds Episode 1. I'm Mike Pierce. I'm Masterpiece Builds on Instagram and YouTube, and I was formerly known as WikiBuilds. Today I'll be showing you a tutorial on how to build my custom Lego Bumblebee as well as to transform it. I'll do my best to describe the techniques and the parts I'm going and the choices I made as I go, but bear with me, trying to do that and build it at the same time might be a bit of a challenge. At any rate, a lot of fans have been asking for tutorial videos, and I'm excited to be bringing them to you at last. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on in. For Bumblebee's chest, I'm going to start with this 1x2 bracket, and then I'm going to put a 1x2 clip on it, attach point for some movement later on, then a couple of these little 1x1 clips, parallel so that they will take in a pneumatic T-bar, and that's kind of his core right there, and then we'll start working on his head. This is one of those 1x1 plates that has a little hole in it, so you can stick that on there. And then I frequently use, the fans call it a Travis brick. It's a 1x1 brick with studs on all four sides. For smaller bots, I frequently use that as their head. Just gives you, really easy way basically to have a head with a surface on each side. There's definitely other techniques I use, but it's a common one, especially in the smaller guys. I'll put a little cap on him here, a little plate, and then we'll make the back of his head smooth. If I can find the part I'm looking for, there it is. For his little horns or ears or what you want to call them, I use these little 1x1 clips. I guess that's a horizontal clip. I can never keep it straight. And then for faces, a lot lately I've been using these little, they call it a stadium tile. It's a 1x1 tile, but the bottom or one side of it is rounded, so it kind of approximates the shape of the face. So we'll throw that on Bumblebee, and there's his head. Next, we're going to start working on the cab of the vehicle. So we'll put a 1x4 plate there, a couple of these cheese wedges, and then to round out the curve of his cab, we'll use a couple of these 2x2 slopes. I guess they're 2x2 curves. And then we'll go ahead and get his, make this all a little stable. Right now these are kind of just loose, so we'll get those stabilized with a couple 1x2 plates, and go ahead and throw his windscreen in there. Generally with Lego, the more connections, the more surrounded by and connected to other pieces are, the more things are stable. So, there's a little bit of that going on here. Next, we'll start working on the joints to his arms. I like this piece a lot. This is it's a 1x1 rounded plate with a handle on it. I kind of call it the wonder piece because it does a little bit of everything. It's sort of allows you to create double joints by itself, which can be a pretty powerful technique. And then we'll put a little 1x1 clip on that. On the smaller guys, when they don't have much weight to hold, I don't mind using the 1x1 clips. If the arms are bigger at all, they're going to pop off. But on the little guys, it doesn't create too much weight or too much torque for a little connection like that. And then we'll secure all that with a 1x2 plate. And then we'll quickly repeat the process on the other side. A little wonder part. Fill in the gap there. Alright. There's the bulk of his upper body. Kind of start to see him come into take shape. Next, we will add a little articulation, a little motion for part of the transformation process. This is a 1x2 plate with handles on both sides. Go ahead and clip that in and attach that to a 1x1 clip. So the studs there are facing back for clearance, but then the clip stud will face forward so that his waist, lower torso kind of faces the camera. And then take these 1x3s and fill in with 1x1s here. And then one more 1x3 plate to just kind of make this all sturdy. Take one of these tiles, make his little crotch plate, and a couple of these little, I call them quarter tiles, because they're like a quarter. just to kind of finish out making them look nice and smooth. You know, some people think that like a Lego model should like never ever show a stud. I'm not that extreme. I think sometimes studs are good for texture, but you know, generally you want to be mindful about it, deliberate about it. As much of the surface as you can get looking nice and not just rough, the better. And frequently that means tiles or other textural elements. Sometimes studs are okay though. Okay, so then we're going to take and turn them around, and we'll put this brick, if I can find it. Oh yeah, it's this brick. No, it's this brick. There we go. Take this brick and put it there. His legs are going to attach to that. And then take the wonder parts again, and this will allow us to attach some of his rear surface of the car, the rear bumper and all that kind of stuff. And go ahead and leave a gap there because these will actually want to fold a teeny bit inward, or at least the ability to fold a little bit inward when they want to tuck out of the way in his robot mode. And then gray plate back here to secure that and sort of, you know, approximate a bumper a little bit. And then the inverted tile to snug that all down. So now this is all super secure, not going anywhere. Next, while we got him kind of back here, we'll go ahead and start working on his rear assembly, the little panels that make up the back of the car. These are 1x2 clips, or 1x2s with 2 clips on them. And then kind of snug that up. Add a little tile surfacing, 1x2 curves here. And then they're not new, but they still feel kind of new to me. These parts that are 1x2 slopes, but then they have a little wedged angle. You can do really cool contouring and shaping with that, or really it comes in handy a lot for cars. Go ahead and slap that on. And then we'll make little assemblies that will kind of be part of his bumper and part of his brake lights. It's that wonder part again. Little plate behind it, which will help kind of just fill in the body of the car. Same thing over here. And then for the lights, in this instance, I'm using just a opaque, another one of these, just kind of for the shape. It depends on the build, you know. When I first started, anytime there was a light or a glass or a visor, like things like eyes or whatnot, I would always use a translucent plate to, you know, sort of show that it's glowing or see-through or it's a, you know, glass surface or something like that. Turns out it just doesn't photograph very well. It looks good in person, but doesn't photograph well. So a lot of times things that, you know, your instinct might be to be translucent, I'll actually just make opaque anyway, because it just pops on camera a little better. Last little bit here on his back flaps is a couple of these brackets, and we'll put them like that. Oh, I got that backwards. Gotta redo that really quick. These fold the wrong way. Thanks for bearing with me, y'all. Okay, now we're in better shape. Okay, now we can attach this bracket here. Go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. And then these little macaroni-looking plates, or tiles rather, can go there. And then fold up. It'll want to fold down kind of when he's in the car mode to be the fender, but then for now it can just fold up to kind of tuck out of the way. This is not a connection I'm crazy about. I don't really love things unsecured on one stud, but it's a small piece and, you know, you can just rotate it without torquing it so it doesn't pop off that much, but it is a thing to be careful about. I'll put the other macaroni over here, like that, and then that's all kind of done and we can start messing with the front of him. For his shoulders, I'm using these bricks with one stud on the side and got the open end out. Usually I'm not also a big fan of open surfaces, but with black you can kind of get away with it. You have to like be looking pretty hard to notice that it's, you know, kind of an open stud surface or whatever. Get the other brick going there. And then similar to how his shoulders connect, his elbow here is made of these 1x1 clips. And then Once again, the wonder part. Here used not for the curvedness, but just for the size, the dimensions of only having one stud, which will become clear in a second. I'll take these 1x2 brackets, the inverted brackets, that come upward for the bottom of his arm, and his hands are these little 1x1 clips. Hands in LEGO Transformers are an interesting thing. There's a lot of ways to do them. I like some of them more than others. For the little guys, the clips are okay. They evoke a grippy hand, and obviously you can plug a weapon into them or whatever. But there's lots of ways to do it, and as long as it looks nice on your build, that's kind of all it comes down to. Tile to just make that little arm look nice and smooth. And a couple plates to give us some surface area on the side of our car. And also kind of makes his arms look cool. You could tell, this is a little bit custom. I'm not exactly replicating G1B or, the more recent really sweet Transformer toys. The Earthrise Bumblebee is really cool. This is a little bit of a kind of a custom take on it. It's trying to evoke all the stylistic elements, but make the transformation really tight, and also really adhere to kind of the chibi proportions, the squished chibi look of the original toy, because it was based on the micro change line. So even though he's a Vita Beetle, he's actually more like a toy beetle. So I made him really cute and really stubby and small and diminutive as ever, which is actually one of the things I like about him a lot. All right, and then next we'll start working on his legs. So with the legs, we're going to start by taking, once again, these 1x1 plates, put the hole in it, attach them there, be kind of the sockets that his legs pop out of. And these are these clips with bars, which, as it turns out, I've learned, don't actually hold weight super well. Just sort of FYI, if you're trying to have an arm, hanging out or whatever, it's going to be a little floppy. With the legs, first of all, this guy's just not heavy, and then because of, their legs and they're secured, this is all pretty good, and then he'll, kind of self-balance when he stands. But FYI, these aren't super great at holding weight, and I didn't realize that when I started. Okay. Next, we're going to start working his legs, so 1x2 plate with a handle. Oops. Gotta decide if I'm looking at my hands or looking at the camera. My hands in the camera. Oh, and I got that backwards. These are actually supposed to be facing inward. Usually frequently you want the stud surface on the outside so that you can tile it up or surface it up nicely. But in this instance, we are going to do something a little different because the wheels will actually attach here. And that's a technique I'll talk about in a minute too. This is a really sweet piece they made in the last, I'm not sure, it's not super new, but again, it still feels kind of new to me, and it is new that it's starting to become available in a lot of colors. It's like gold brick tile. It's otherwise, it's basically just a 1x2 tile, but it had so much texture and contour. So I'll make the inside of his leg with that. Oh, did I miss a step? I missed a step. We're actually going to make his legs are this little hinge plate. I used to call it a nunchuck plate when I was a kid. I still kind of think of it that way, even though it's called like a 1x4 hinge or something. Okay, now the little gold bar plate goes in there so that the inside of his leg kind of just looks, nice and contoured. Do the same steps on the other side here. Okay, and then get yellow on the outside. Once again, I don't love sort of negative stud surfaces here. It's kind of a concession to make it all work, but the way he stands, you're usually looking at him from the side, so it's not super pronounced. Just kind of talking about my thinking as I go. And then these mixel joints, I tend not to pop them apart if I don't need to. So when I broke this guy down to make preparation to build this video, I just kept this as one piece. So you need both of these pieces. Pop that in there. Pop that there. That will let us build his feet. And the feet on Bumblebee are super duper important because they have all that shaping of the Volkswagen Beetle hood. So important to get it right to kind of really nail them. Take some 2x3 plates, so big waffle stompers, big chunky feet. And then a couple of these 1x3 plates. And then a 1x2 plate here. And that'll let us put on these elements. So the middle, the big sloped kind of surface of the hood is this 1x3. What is this thing called anyway? It's like a 1x3 curved piece. And then a little cheese wedge, the 1x1 slope. Just to add that contouring from the hood. Another 1x3 plate down here. He's got this kind of stair step thing going so that you can get all that curve. And then the inverted 1x1 bracket. This is a sweet piece. I think this one actually is relatively new still. It's a little bit weird, the hit and miss what colors they come in. You can get the one that faces down in yellow, but the one that faces up you can only get in this like light yellow. So you do your best, you pick a color that's close. In a perfect world you could find the exact right part or the exact right color, but if it's close enough and it's just a small pop, you kind of make that concession to make it work. Slap a little headlight on there. The headlights I tend to do more of the translucent piece just because it is actually really designed to emit light. I don't know, maybe that's not right. Get a little headlight going. And then a couple more pieces to finish this out. Quarter tile here, just to kind of give the suggestion that it's a rounded surface. Those little slopes with the wedge in there, and then a 1x2 slope, 1x2 curve, rather. And that's sort of that hood shaping, or at least as good as I could get it. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll get the little quarter tile and the little slope that's got a curve that's got a wedge on it, and then the other slope. There's his feet. Well, the tops of his feet anyway. For the bottom where all the legs attach and stuff, I'll do a little tricky here. We're gonna take take these bricks here. These are 1x2 brick, and it's got 2 studs in it. And I'm gonna actually put that. Am I missing a piece? I am missing a piece. Okay. This little gap right here, it's a 1x2 plate. And a 1x2 plate. There we go. Now we take this brick, put it there facing out. This instance it's gray, in part because it's the bumper, but also just because I don't have this piece. This won't actually be visible, so it doesn't really matter. But when I first grabbed it, I grabbed gray, thinking, maybe this will be visible. There that goes again. And then a couple of these brackets underneath, which helps basically make his legs sort of feet balanced with once you get the wheels in there. Now's the part where we gotta get a little tricky. We're gonna take this 1x1 brick that has a stud on it. And these are the bricks that have a hole for a Technic pin. One of those on each side. But on the other side, instead of one of those, it's just two of the Technic brick, so that you can sort of snug them together when he's a robot. Next up, we're going to go ahead and get the bumper going. So a 1x1 plate here, or 1x2 curve here, and then a 1x1 plate. And I don't know, you could make that white or put a number on it, so that it had like a bumper plate or license plate effect or something, but I just decided I didn't want to do that. It just looks nice as gray for me. Same thing over here. And then, time to attach some wheels. take just a 1x1 pin, or not a 1x1, a pin, a smooth pin, put it there. These are the, I think they're 15mm wheels. I just have used these. When I first started, I tried to use the city wheels because they come with sweet fenders and stuff. Having the pin hole rather than the little way the city wheels connect allows you to do some neat stuff with it, basically. There's a lot of different ways you can connect them. And they're small, which actually works really well at this scale. Let's get that going. Get that going. A couple other things to do here. This is a little bit of a tricky one. This is a 1x2 bracket, and you want to slip it in there. It's a bit of a tight squeeze because of the ball joint, so you can just pop the whole thing off if you need to. And 1x2 plate so that he's got good heel support. This is what a colleague on Instagram told me was essential, and I took that lesson to heart. If you want them to stand, they need a big, strong heel. That goes in there. Looks like when I was assembling his legs earlier, I missed a step. These little 1x2 grills will go ahead and texture the inside of his leg. And lastly, well, almost lastly, little 1x1 plate here, a bit of a squeeze. We can just get it in there, and I'll actually just pop that off. 1x1 plate on the inside of this tile, and it kind of just reduces the amount of gap around the fender of the wheel, if you will. Same thing over here. And then lastly, one powerful technique that I learned since coming to the LEGO community. This is a half pin, so it's a pin on one side but a stud on the other. And if you pop that in there and just stick it into an anti-stud, it turns out that's really, really stable. The first time I saw it, I was like, that's awful. These guys are terrible. They don't know what they're doing. And then I tried it. I mean, it's really snug. It's nice and in there. So that really surprised me, but there you go. So same thing over here. Oh. I don't know if that part is something I missed somewhere, that little gray tile. I don't know. Or that little gray plate. I don't think so. He looks pretty complete. So that last pin and wheel here. And there is Bumblebee. I'm really, really happy with this one, guys. I mentioned on Instagram the other day, it's like version 14 or something. I've been trying to make a good Bumblebee for a long time. Again, you know, as I said the last time I did a sort of a transform video for this guy, it's not perfect maybe, but it's getting pretty close, I think. I think it really evokes the character, the colors, the proportions. It's just got a lot of personality. This is Bumblebee. You can futz with these a little bit, just make them kind of look nice, and it kind of doesn't look terrible from front or back. So I'll take a couple more minutes and transform him. I'm going to fold these little panels out, and I'm going to turn his head around and just fold it down a little bit. This can flip around so that they just don't protrude, basically. Kind of pivot down there a little bit. Go ahead and kind of get this all up. His arms, actually, I got that all wrong. His arms go like that. Pivot down. Pivot forward. And kind of just line everything up nice. Same thing over here. Oops. Yeah, this fit is a teeny bit tight. It's not exactly 90 degrees. There's a smallest bend there, but you don't really notice it. Go ahead and fold his legs forward, clip them together, push the cab down, push that, get those as snug as they'll go. And that, my friends, is how you build your own Lego Bumblebee. Well, it's how you build my Lego Bumblebee. Oh, lastly, the little fenders fold down. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy the video. I hope you learned something. I would love to see a flood of little Lego Bumblebees on the internet. If you do build him, I'd love to get credit. If you build him and post him on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, just don't pass it off as your work. Give me a shout out or whatever. It's a lot of fun. I hope you like it. Once again, I'm Masterpiece Builds. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. I'm always happy to answer questions, share techniques, share tips, level people up. I love this community, and I want to see it continue to be passionate and fun and welcoming and accepting. So anyway, that's it. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time.